It gives me great honor to introduce our Day 3 keynote speaker. He is a customer experience advocate and a true believer of design thinking. Allan Cheong brings with him over 20 years of industry experience. He has worked with clients from both the public and private sectors, where he is responsible for developing and activating CX strategy and CX engagement programs. In his keynote, Allan will share with us why and how redesigned customer experience, where CX meets brand love, can create an exceptional and memorable moment for customers. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker, Mr. Allan Cheong.
Hi, good morning everyone, and thank you Myra for that wonderful introduction and the lively, atmosphere that you created to start the Day 3. My name is Allan and I'm from Kantar, Malaysia, and a great honor for me to be here today for this event. And as Myra has mentioned earlier, I'll be sharing some of the insights that we have on, in the age of disruption now, customer is really the focus moving forward. And we live in an age of experience, right? From buying of groceries, going on holiday, your wedding ceremony, seeing a doctor in a clinic or hospitals. Consumer customers are seeking the experience for the money that they spend. And as mentioned, today I'll be sharing some thoughts with you on how customer experience continue and have to be the key focus for brands, especially now where disruption is becoming unpredictable, or should I say predictable. In an internal study that we have done globally, we have interviewed the CEOs of various companies and brands, and 80% of them believes that their brand actually deliver a superior customer experience. But however, on the flip side, when we ask their customer or consumer the same questions, only 8% of them felt that they are truly a customer experience brand. Why is the gap? And also, we all know that today is so different from 10 years ago or 15 years or even 20 years ago. People today prefer spending money on experience rather than material things. Experience spends is like growing at 60%. And of course, with millennials, they say that they prefer to spend money on experience over material things. And we can see that there's a huge change in terms of the experience gain that the consumer nowadays are looking at, especially talking about millennials, where they will be the next generation, right? Or the current generation moving on to the next generation. So is experience everything? Something to think about. I would pause it for a while here, come back later. I know we are in a crisis right now. Everyone is talking about COVID-19, and some of us is really wanted to get over this crisis soon, but nobody knows that. But COVID-19 has changed the world dramatically, both in professional and private contexts. Everyday life, as was still possible at the end of last year, come to a complete standstill. Even financially stable companies suddenly stopped thinking about profit margin, growth, sustainability, and started fighting for economic survival. From an internal study that we have done, 3 out of 4 respondents says that the COVID-19 crisis has a significant impact on their daily lives. People no longer worry about their next holiday, destination, or how many trips the vacations budgets allow. They also no longer wonder which concert party they will go to next, or which evening they will meet with friends. Teams and experience have changed. How children and home office can be brought together at the same time. Now the question is whether which streaming services deliver the best program, which supermarket has the most comprehensive range of services to enable them to go shopping as quickly and safely as possible. People try to bake and sew at home, learning new things at home. And my wife started to bake during this period of time at home, and there's something that I didn't know about her. Or try new experiments in the garden or in the balcony, right? We can observe that the importance of experience does not decrease, but it only changes, right? And COVID-19 has disrupted our personal and working life. Many of us, or many of you, are attending this event from home, for example. I remember when Star Media first approached us for this event. It's supposed to be in March, April period. But because, again, of COVID-19, how kudos to Star Media, how they have quickly innovate the whole event, and now we can bring it to you live at the comfort of home or in front of a screen. We are schooling our children at home. We are practicing social distancing. Many of us try to stay home as much as possible. COVID-19 has fundamentally changed how we live our life. Through our Kantar COVID-19 barometer, it shows that people are feeling very concerned about the situation at the moment. 87% of Malaysians feel that the virus situation is a huge concern. However, we are also very optimistic. 37% of Malaysians believe that Malaysia's economy will recover quickly, which is higher than those in the advanced economy countries. Then heightened emotions are a byproduct of the stress that COVID-19 has on people. Business needs to be aware that this is a time when long-lasting memories will be made. Customers will remember brands that show humanity, that took care of their employees, that make efforts to help the society. Customer won't remember business that did nothing, and they will have negative memories of those that were exploitative, but profit before people who acted only in their self-interest. To create long-lasting goodwill, business must act on a strategy to help people. But what is important now for brands? How do you act? How do you make sure that you are acting and not reacting? Customer centricity acts as a semantic stabilizer, re-fencing brands from major economic and societal disruption. While some things will go, with time, will go back to the way they were previously before the crisis, we all know that many things will not. So companies adapt and innovate now will have a competitive advantage in the future. Being agile, responsive to customer needs now creates capability to adapt and compete effectively in the post-COVID-19 environment. So how do companies position their branding during the time of crisis? Our COVID-19 Malaysian study shows that exploitation of the crisis is not something a brand should do. Malaysians appreciate brands that showcase how helpful they are in giving helping hands and offer positive perspective to lighten up the gloomy scenarios. We will talk more about this, and I'll share a little bit more on showing customer care and, of course, how positive engagement can achieve through caring initiative that brands launch. And those brands that have achieved customer centricity, we see the payoff. Our latest global figures shows that true customer-centric brands achieve high preference. It is clear that negative customer experience led to very little preference, but also being in the middle or neutral ground is not sufficient to create that preference for your brand. So being customer-centric in a crisis is not about doing the same thing in a different way, such as replicating an existing customer journey on a different channel. We have to start with the customer aspirations, dreams, emotions, and then we work backwards and reimagine the experience to meet those needs. There's no better time to take advantage of the opportunity brought upon by COVID-19 to not only reimagine your customer experience. First of all, for many brands, there's a need to redesign customer journeys. One of the most immediate and logical outcomes of the crisis was that customers are changing their purchase journey to online. And brands have to respond to this quickly, adapt their ordering and delivering process. But not all brands are prepared for this shift. When we ask retail customers globally about their experience of online shopping, only 20% states that grocery brand is providing an excellent experience. Any operational response needs to take into account new customer mission. A customer doesn't ring a call center just because they want to speak to a service agent, because they have an issue that they want to solve. In many cases, not only functional but an emotional mission, sharing their frustrations and feelings, and being appreciated as a customer. There are new emotional needs as a result of the crisis. Example, health, safety, and reassurance. And often, there are now more and different journey steps with bigger danger of customer abandoning the journey at a certain point when they are interacting with you and your brand. Looking at one example from grocery company, the customer mission, you can see on the slide, this is a typical, a very simplified customer journey maps. The customer mission, she wants to achieve a different one. It is not only about buying food, so the functional mission, but also how to stay safe, the emotional mission. And in this journey, the customer expectations were disrupted several times, as you can see. The initial search was not optimal. The customer then pick a shop, fill the virtual shopping basket, and then inform that there's no delivery slot available, that led to a decision to abandon the website, for example. In the next try, they did go through, but found the registration process payment too complicated, for example. And again, pick a different shop. And while the delivery worked in the end, the experience was fairly neutral, if you ask me, and every journey steps, what the customer feel has a huge impact on their decision. For customer experience management, the challenge is therefore not only to understand how customers evaluate the overall experience of a shopping at their online stores, as you will invariably only get those have managed to successfully navigate, but also at which steps you need to scrutinize the journeys are interrupted. But there are also many positive examples on how brands have responded to new customer demands, and I'll share with you in the next few slides. Reimagining customer journey also requires the brands to look internally, not just at the customer, but internally, at the various channels and transactions that they have to interact with the customers. What are the behavioral changes from the customers that drive an increase in a certain channels, for example? I mentioned briefly, because of the crisis situation right now, it's been driving online sales for many of the brands. And are the channels and the brands ready for the change? Will customers still get the seamless experience across the channel? Sharing with you some example. On the left of the screen, you see that it's actually a grocery in the States. This is actually a small grocery in a small town in the States where there are a lot of the segments of the populations are more the older folks. I always say the older folks, yeah. So because of COVID and the lockdown and stuff, so they already had the online channel, but they reacted very quickly. They had zoomed in about using data to identify which are the households that have the older generation folks, and they prioritize that as top. And personally, their staff deliver the grocery ordered from this home to the homes themselves. Of course, the other families, they will still go through their normal delivery channels. And because the focus on this company, on this groceries companies, is delivering it to the older folks as quickly as they can. And on the right, you see a Chinese cosmetic company was forced to close their stores. And again, it's because of COVID. They have since empowered their beauty advisor to become online beauty advisors, engaging with customers through social media channels. And at the end, they saw the returns increase in sales growth. This shows that reaction to the crisis are not only about replicating an existing customer journey in a digital channel. There's a strong need to address the new customer mission. If customers don't have the opportunity to shop online, or even do still want to look for products before purchasing, what can we do to meet that needs? And in the case of the Chinese cosmetic company, the company mission is not only to the customer mission is not only to buy a piece of cosmetic, but to look beautiful, to feel well, and especially in a time of great uncertainty. Another example, a positive example, this is a insurance company. The insurers already had a presence in an online channel, but they wish to better support customer with their questions and to advance the sales processes. So what they did was, the insurers actually enable a one-stop service solution where their trained agent can manage customers that contacted via phone, email, chat, or even they call back. This platform also integrate front and back office, not just front facing, but also the back office, providing single system access for quotes, underwriting, sales, premium processing, as well as customer service. And as you can see, the impact, and it has, we have seen that this has led to a 98% satisfaction of the customers, and of course 20% higher in terms of policy per sales, and of course, obviously, the growth in the sales numbers. Well, so far I've talked about what brands can do in terms of from customer perspective. But if you look at this slide, truly well said by Sir Richard Branson, take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers. It's as simple as that, right? Customer centricity is not just about your customer. Your staff are just as equally important. New report shows most people are more likely to buy from company that shows flexibility and empathy towards employees. Even as companies scramble to stay afloat and consumers change their spending habits, employee treatments impact brand favorability. 90% of respondents says that it is important to them that brands take care of their employees and treat them well, even in tough times. That equals to the share who said having products and the need in stock was important. In addition to brand image, a company treatments of employees also impact purchasing intent from the consumer. Almost half of the respondents that we asked say that they regard the way companies treat their team members to be one of the top 5 most important considerations when deciding to purchase a product or a service. Just would like to draw your attention to the 2 examples on these slides. On your left, you can see we're all very familiar. Starbucks is a great example of brands that understand the values of their employees bring to the business. Whether it's putting a smile on everyone's face or building long-term customer loyalty. Starbucks' focus on its employees has not gone unnoticed. In fact, 87% of customer affinity towards Starbucks is driven by how the company treats its employee. And since day one, they focus on putting employee-friendly policies in place. For example, they support their staff by paying tuitions for universities and online programs. Another perks, all Starbucks staff can earn company shares through their bin stock program. Even their organizational structure is designed to improve employee experience. Starbucks managers refer to their team members as partners instead of employees. This light touch from upper management shows how they want partners to know that they play an important role in the bigger picture, which in turn motivate them to work better. And moving from F&B Starbucks to hospitality, Hyatt Regency is the next example. Hyatt's choice to focus on empathy over perfection put them on an unconventional path towards success in hospitality industries. As its CEO was quoted in Fortune interview saying that the key to Hyatt's success is making sure that we are connected to the emotional experience of our colleagues and guests. Guests are experiencing and then designing the experience so it's fulfilling for them. Instead of using a script, that a lot of service industry has, the SOP, the scripts and stuff when interacting with customers or interacting with guests at the hotel, Hyatt staff are free to be themselves during guest interactions. This creates a very authentic and personalized customer experience and encourage employees to establish an emotional bond and connection with the guests. And I've talked about what brands needs to focus on customers' experience in the time of crisis and moving post-crisis. and as well as it's just that's important to focus on internally your staff experience. The next few examples are some of the brands that we have seen that already started reimagining their customer experience or the journeys even before a crisis, or they are constantly reimagining or restyling or refining the journeys of their customers. What you see here, I think, is pretty recognizable. Is the Apple brand Apple. As the late Steve Jobs always believed, the previous founder of Apple, you always start with the customer and works the technology backwards. It's not the other way. So in Apple, the customer centricity culture has been implanted in everyone since day one. And even in their stores, if you have experience or you have the opportunity to step into a Apple store, I know that Apple Store has not come to Malaysia yet, but when they come or you have the opportunity to visit an Apple Store in overseas, you'll notice that in the Apple Store itself, that there are no sales representative. That they won't come to you and push you to buy a product. And all the stuff, they're wearing either they're wearing a red t-shirt or a blue t-shirt, they call themselves Apple Genius, right? They are passionate about the brand, they're passionate about the product, they're passionate about customers. And you can spend the whole day there talking to a genius, an Apple Genius, on the product, on anything with regards to the brand and the products. And they won't expect you to buy anything. And in the store design, as you can see from the pictures, 2/3 of their stores, of their shop fronts, is allocated to customers for experiential experience. What do I say? What do I mean when I say that? They will display their product in all range and all the different products and range, all colors, for you to feel and touch the product. And also with the interest to know deep more about, you can sign on to courses or a quick lessons on how to even take, for example, photography using the latest iPhone 11, for example. And that makes the experience very different, the journey of the customer very different from Apple. And you can see that although they don't drive the sales within the stores, the experience actually drives the sales themselves. The next example that I've seen myself is in the car industry. And in this case, you can tell from, I'm sure you can recognize what brand is this. It's actually BMW. In 2013, 2012, the global CEO actually already started this reimagining journeys, because in this automotive industry, we all know that it's a very competitive industry. And the global CEO decided that we need to do something if we want to stay ahead of the competition, right? So they have launched the global initiative for BMW. This initiative is called Future Retail. You can go online, Google, and type BMW Future Retail, and you can read up on that. And what is this Future Retail all about? When as technological advances, we no need to actually go to the showroom to understand about the cars. In fact, I can guarantee that most of us will do our own research on the cars before we even go and visit the showroom. And even when we decide to go and visit the showroom, we have somewhat in our mind, has decided whether to purchase or not to purchase the car already. So which sparks the thinking of, so when the customer steps into the showroom, we need to really capture and close in on the sales for the cars. So if you look at the pictures, they have combined both, digital and analog, right? When I say digital and analog, is that in not so much of the Southeast Asian market, but in the Europe market, 90% or more than 90% of the BMW sold is actually customized. When I say customized, means not just about the color, but also the leather choice the interior car leather choice, the dashboard styling, the engine type, the rims, the rims that you want on your cars. And once you lock that customization in, then in the factory they will manufacture the car and you will get your car in a month's time or something. But not so much on Southeast Asian market here because it's pre-made when they ship the car over. So in that experience, the customer, when they enter the showroom, they combine the analog, as you can see on the picture, the physical car, as well as digital. You can actually see the car, rotate the car with different colors on the screen, with different matchings, rims and stuff, and different background. And when I visited their Munich factory, it was quite amazing because that was like 3 years ago when I visited. They were actually combining VR, AR as well. So there is a station where you can actually sit in and test drive any BMW car in a virtual reality. And that was quite amazing, and you can even choose the background, which city, which countries that you want to do the test drive in, and that was really amazing. During COVID, I believe they might not be the only company that does that, but because of the lockdown and stuff, they provide, they actually drive the cars to your house for you to test drive, or even they do they come to your house and pick up your car and for servicing, bring it back to their workshops for servicing for you. And I think that is truly something that they have continuously to reimagine or to improve the customer journey along the end-to-end journeys. The last example that I want to share with you is actually my own personal examples that touch a bit on employee experience. Now, as you can see, this is Scoot, a budget airline. This was back in 2013 when me and my wife, we just had our first boy is less than a year old. So we decided to take a trip to Hong Kong. And it was quite last minute, so a lot of Hong Kong being a very, very popular destination, not a lot of choice for flights and the kind of timings that we want. So we found the flight that we want, and it's actually Scoot. So at that point in time, we have not taken any budget airline before, but yeah. So the booking experience was pretty well, I would say that pleasant online. It was pretty easy, and when those of you who are parents and you have the experience before, you know that going on holiday bringing your child is a real challenge, right? You have all your barang-barang, your pram and stuff. So on the day of departure, we actually went, and when we reached the Aero Bridge, the staff actually approached us. When they see us coming from far, they actually approach us and offered to help with the pram. I was like, oh wow, we didn't expect that from a budget air, right? Yeah. So they help us with the pram. They keep and they assure us. They give us the reassurance and say that don't worry, we'll take care of a pram for you. And then at the end of when you reach your destination, we will make sure that they'll get the pram back for us when we touch down in Hong Kong. And throughout the flight, it's not just particular attendants. It's the attendants that's serving that aisle or that section. They will constantly come and check on us. Do you need anything for your child? Do you need anything for this? Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything. Those kind of things. That actually, as a parent and as a traveler, that actually impacted me in terms of the moments that matters. We call it the experience. Really, make me and my wife really had a very good experience. Not just because it's because of budget air. You don't expect that, but really we didn't expect anything at all. Like the extra mile, the additional steps that the staff actually taking from us. And you can see from the picture they're dressed casual, and I believe that the company has really and focused on the employee experience that leads, to the employee taking care of the customers, or in this case, the passengers. And that was really a nice experience after that. And we continue to fly with Scoot whenever we can. Yeah. And that brings me to the end of today's sharing, and I hope that I've shared some interesting insights with you. And also, I know you are seeing the Q&A on your screen, but in the interest of time, we appreciate that your questions. But in the interest of time, we will answer just two questions, right? And don't worry, continue to post your questions. We will reply to you via email after this session.
Thank you, Allan. That was really cool. I think the last example is an epitome of what you're trying to achieve as a business, right? You give the customer a good experience,
right,
and then they talk about it to other people and continue flying with you. So that's amazing. So, okay, the first of the two questions is, the first one is, the internet access in Malaysia is very expensive and very slow as compared to Singapore. How can we solve this issue? That's interesting.
Yeah. I think one of the example that we can see, there are a lot of examples in terms of telco, and in this case we're talking about internet access. It's something that it's not just Malaysia, if you ask me, because interestingly you compare to Singapore, because I'm a Singaporean. I came from Singapore. Yes, Singapore internet speed is fast, but okay, maybe it's the nature of Singaporeans that's super demanding and always complaining, but we can see that there's a lot of initiative that's been taken by the telco brands in Malaysia, especially during the time of crisis. They reacted very fast in terms of the bandwidth issues, or any issues related to internet access. This is true, and how we know, because we've worked with in Kantar, we've worked with many different telcos in Malaysia, and we saw how they have reacted from their customer needs during this time. And yes, improving the bandwidth is not just the telco sole responsibility, right? I mean, there is a lot of other things that have to be considered. For example, the structural, the bandwidth, the structure, as well as how the whole country has been networked together in terms of the Wi-Fi accessibility. But fret not, I think this year 5G is going to introduce, or next year. So I think that would help to solve a lot of this issue. But to answer the question, yes, the telcos are really putting in their best effort in order to try, especially during this time when bandwidth is something that we are. It's like the next most important thing other than your handphone or your mobile phone, right?
Thank you. That was a really hard question for you to answer. How to fix internet connectivity. Thank you for your answer. We have another question. How can we make the online shopping experience be as good as physical retail? Humans generally still prefer to have the 5 basic senses: touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste.
Yeah, that's another tough one. Maybe let me just throw the question back to Mark. During the last few months, have you tried to purchase something online, and what was your experience? Now, sharing my own experience again, I never liked online shopping. Why? Especially in fashion. I have very bad experience. I bought shoes, I bought t-shirts, I bought shirts and stuff, but when they came as a different size, and it doesn't really fit me on, I still like to go and try. And so one of the initiative that I really like, and the brands that I saw, is that to solve that issue, they actually recognize that problem or that pain points from consumer. So what they did was, throughout the country, in the region that they operate, they actually had periodically pop-up stores near their targeted segment area for people like you and me to go to the pop-up stores and try on the sizes. And then when you go back home, then you can safely, be assured that, okay, this size 24 is the correct size for me. And then you click and buy from home. And the pop-up store concept is great because it's like in the interest of time, I no need to go to a shopping mall or, it's convenient for me along the way back home. I can just try on the size. I know, okay, this brand, this size 24 is my size. When I buy from this brand, I will remember to click size 24 and that fits me. So that is, there's a lot of innovative way that that brands can think of to really answer to the needs, for the consumer. So that's one of the example that I personally see that I felt to actually reassure my previous negative experience of buying online, especially retail fashion.
That's a really, really cool example, actually, because I guess when people think about online shopping experience, they think about fixing it online, but your example was for pop-up stores, right? Which is an innovative way for people to also try on the sizes. That's a really, really good example. Okay, so we have more questions, but unfortunately we can't address them right now, but we will address them in the future. So keep asking questions and then we'll respond to it at a later time. I am so happy to have been able to hear, as a person who's also studied experience, it's really, really nice to hear someone talk about it and, bring up all these examples from different businesses that you can look at and learn from your own business. So thank you so much for that. I'm about to go over to that area and introduce the next section. And I just wanted to say thank you so much, Allan, and see you again for the panel session.
Thank you. It's been a great experience for me today and doing this virtually. And thank you so much, Star Media, for inviting us over. Thank you. Have a nice day.